Welcome to the ISB show. I'm your host Sahil here with Rahi. Today we're talking UEFA Nations League. And Rahi, we try to be humble on this show. We try to admit when we were wrong. And it's very interesting because today we're talking about the Norwegian national team. And we had to talk about this team because we put out a video. I saw when we did it. It was September the 2nd. Just before Norway kicked off its Nations League campaign, and we talked about how Erling Haaland was not delivering for Norway. Then we came out again after the Kazakhstan match and talked about the Norwegian team and said, look, 0-0 stalemate, not delivering. But boy, has Mr. Haaland proved us wrong since then. 7 goals and has completely transformed the Norwegian national team, who has now won their Nations League group.
Yeah. Now the leading goal scorer for Norway scored a big goal to beat Austria, has scored nonstop. They win the Nations League group. It sounds like everything we said needed to happen or that we said wasn't happening happened. And we have to admit we were wrong, or maybe we motivated him. I don't know, one of those things. But I will say one thing I was right about was Antonio Nusa. Yeah. That boy is on fire. He's been on fire for this team. That's another thing to remember.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all of it right now. For those of you enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. But okay, let's talk about what happened. So it was very interesting because it almost felt like there was a very seminal moment in this campaign. And that was against Austria. It's 1-1. The match is in Norway. Erling Haaland gets onto the ball, puts it in the back of the net, and the referee says offside. And then VAR looks at the decision and after a while decides goal. And ever since then, the guy's luck has completely changed for a Norway uniform.
Yeah, it's true. It almost felt like that was the turning point because it could have gone either way, right? It felt like a repeat of what we've seen before. It felt like another unlucky break for the best striker in the world, right? And then it turned, and it's turned ever since. I think we have to talk big picture. We have to talk what this means and Norway getting through the group in first place. There is a big blemish on their record. We'll talk about that in a second, though.
Yeah. So let's start with the good. So I think what's happened for this team, we mentioned Haaland and Nusa. And I think what's happened is also, you have Alexander Sorloth as well. Up front, there's basically this dynamic trio where this is a force to be reckoned with, and what allows for the Norwegian team, and these last matches, Odegaard wasn't even playing.
Yeah.
So what it allows is those defensive midfielders like Ostergaard, Berger, they just they just relay the ball forward, and you give it to Nusa, or you go direct to Haaland, and Nusa is a problem for any team.
And you bring up a great point. They did this largely. The pivotal games in the Nations League were done without their midfield talisman, without Odegaard, right? And so give a lot of credit to the two defensive midfielders, Ostergaard and Sandberg, because they were able to dominate proceedings as much as they needed to. And then, like you said, those two guys up front, particularly Haaland and Nusa together, are a deadly combination. I mean, it's one or the other creating, right? It's almost like you see sometimes it's Nusa having a shot and the rebound Haaland puts in, right? Or the other way around. And it's the two of them working together. It's really a deadly combination.
Yeah. How much do you think, I mean, Nusa is only a 19-year-old kid, but how much do you think a lot of Haaland's success now on the national team is, you can, credit to the emergence of Antonio Nusa?
Well, let's take nothing away from Haaland. I mean, he's obviously an incredible player. He is the best player Norway has ever produced, and it's hard to argue that. And he's an incredible talent. But I do think, yes, a lot of what he's doing has been made easier by the emergence of Nusa, because Nusa takes some of the pressure off of creation, right? So Haaland can push up further, can pounce off in the box things that he generally does, right, for Manchester City. And it allows the pressure of sort of dribbling by and attacking, that falls on Nusa, and he's done that time and time again. He's getting on the ball, and when he gets on the ball, he takes on players and he's direct, and that allows Haaland to emerge and sort of find the spaces in between, which he's so good at.
Yeah. And now the latest match, the hat-trick, you could just see the happiness on Erling Haaland's face after scoring that. Those were some phenomenal goals. And then you got to talk about the one with his right foot his
Yeah.
off foot. And that for me was the best goal of the three, just because of the way to do that with your off foot. This guy is definitely back and much more for Norway.
Yeah, he's one of the best finishers I think we've ever seen, in that his ability to every finish is a rocket, right? No matter what it is, it's he's able to generate so much power that even if it's at a strange angle or from a rebound, he's able to dispatch it with limited concern, right? He's almost angry in the way he finishes, and I don't think we've ever seen a finisher like him.
Yeah. So Norway, look, now they won the group. They're going to go to League A, and this is a big step. It's also huge just in the overall World Cup qualification because of the permutations and stuff that allows you to do. Let's talk about, so all good things, Norwegian fans out there, but the one blemish we have to talk about, and that is the Austria match, the second Austria match in Austria, because Norway's traditionally, Rahi, and we've been watching this team for a long time, to the Tor Andre Flo days. Are we talking back there?
Yeah.
Or, you know, the
one team to beat Spain in the World Cup that year?
In the Euros.
Sorry, in the Euros.
The Euros.
Sorry, in the Euros. Yes, correct.
The Euros, they beat them in the Euros in 1 year. But and then of course the major win against Brazil in the 98 World Cup with
Morocco out of qualification for the
Rekdal and that team there.
Yeah.
The one thing that Norway's always had is a very strong defense. But in that match against Austria, right, the defense really let them down and they got hammered. So how do you take that game in the context of what was a very successful overall Nations League campaign?
Yeah, I mean, it raises concerns, right? I mean, yes, they were down. They were shorthanded in that game. And it's a good Austrian team, right? It's an Austrian team that knows how to attack. But it's a big concern because they're going to play much better teams now moving up into that League A. And yes, they beat a very good Slovenia team twice. This is not a bad Slovenia team. And what ultimately gets them through is the fact that they did better against Slovenia than Austria. Austria, I believe, tied both games against Slovenia. So that's really the difference. And you split with Austria. But to lose the way they did in Austria raises huge concerns. And that, to me, you do start to wonder, are they ready for the big stage, right? And how will they compete against teams that are going to put you under intense pressure the way Austria did in Austria, and the way that they capitalized on Norwegian mistakes, right? That's the biggest thing, is I think that the margin for error is going to be much smaller as you get into this higher tier. And then we'll see. I think it's going to be some learning, some growing pains for this team. But it's hard to look past that game, Saab, because it was a big one and they really fell.
Yeah. It's almost a situation, I feel like, where when these strikers are on, or when their front line is on, right, you're always in a game, right? You're always in a match. Even against Slovenia, right? The match in Slovenia, the one they just won last week. There were points in that match where they were a little bit on pressure, and then that outlet ball to Haaland when he scores on essentially one-on-one with the goalie, suddenly the match transforms, and after that they were very comfortable. So with these players, they have the ability to transform matches, but the question is, when they consistently have to do it game in, game out, I guess that's what gets tricky from that point.
It does put a lot of pressure, right? Because yes, if you score 4 goals, fine. What you do at the other side doesn't matter as much. The challenge is when you concede soft goals, things become much more difficult, and especially against better teams. And that's what they're going to have to figure out, because the strength up front is very clear. And yes, in the midfield, when Odegaard's back, they have a dominant force controlling the game. Where they have problems is they've been conceding quite a few goals, and that's where the concern is. And that's where I think that's the most attention needs to be paid to shoring up the defense, and that'll perhaps change results moving forward.
Yeah. So overall, though, successful campaign for the Norwegians, for the Norway fans out there. You can now celebrate and go on to
we were wrong. We were wrong. Erling Haaland has done it for Norway. He took them now to the next stage, League A, I guess it's called, and he's the leading scorer in the history of Norway, and he scored big goals. And now let's see what he does.
Yeah, and he's earned our attention, as has the team as a whole, and now
I think our attention has been on him. I think the world's attention has been on him for 5 years now.
I know. I'm just trying to you know, to kind of hide that old video that we put out there that's like about Norway. But no, look, we're big Haaland fans. We've always been big Haaland fans, and he's a very transformative force. So for those of you enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. We'll of course be back. We'll cover this team as they continue moving on, and we want to see our boy Antonio Nusa as well as Haaland, right, Rahi?
Oh, I can't wait. This guy, I mean, Haaland, we know, everyone knows all about Haaland, but this Nusa, the sky is the limit, really. Incredible talent, incredible desire, and just such a fun player to watch. And that's the thing, this Norway team is becoming fun to watch.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They're becoming
Except
fun
when
to
they
watch.
play in Austria.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happens over there. But all right, everyone. Please keep watching the beautiful game, and we will catch you guys next time. Haaland. You like that song? You like that Haaland song?
Not the best song, but yes, it's interesting.